All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Scenes with Cookeville Lifestyle. So we had a little bit of a change of plans. Emily Bochette, our lead hairstylist, is going to be interviewing people and hosting the show for me. We're going to have different people from our team hosting because I honestly don't want to be the face of Cookeville Lifestyle Magazine.
But you're such a pretty face.
Oh, well, thank you. So are you. So we need other people coming on and helping us host. And Emily is perfect because she has an incredible personality and she's so funny. But anyways, our guest today that Emily's supposed to be interviewing had to cancel last minute, which is fine.
A little bit of something come up. But you know what? It's okay. We'll reschedule.
So we pivoted.
We'll pivot.
And now we're going to talk about something super exciting that Emily has going on.
It just worked out.
It worked out. I think I had a heart attack for you in the moment.
Did.
I thought you were going to jail. I thought Eddie Ferris was going to come cuff you and stuff
knocking
you.
on my door. Mm-hmm.
But it worked out. So, drum roll.
Let's talk about it.
Emily is...
I am now the new owner of Borden Jewelry.
Woo! But it's not going to be Borden's Jewelry anymore,
It's not,
of course.
But everybody knows Borden's, right?
But she won the bid in the auction for the building.
I think like on accident, really.
She didn't even realize. I think I heard the story you were doing hair and...
So I had a client. So I'll walk you through it. I had a client sitting in there, and honestly, I'd been talking about Borden Jewelry. You know, I'd been telling you about it. I was like, Borden Jewelry
would be the perfect building.
You bid on Borden Jewelry.
I got
on the jewelry
4 or 5 old
pocket
watches that I was like, oh, I could get these for $30, and I got a loose diamond, and I could sell them on eBay, and I can I'll be rich.
That's right.
They're still sitting on eBay. Nobody bought them, but still,
hey,
anyway,
what? Pass them down. Pass them down.
So they've been auctioning everything, and then they auctioned the building. Yeah. And that's where we are.
I guess I did not know that they were auctioning the building. I thought, it was just going to be something like the jewelry was, and then I seen the building come up, and I thought, okay, but no way, because all the comps support $1 million buildings, especially a standalone building. That's over $1 million comped. And I was like,
real estate.
No way. And it has its own parking lot that is dedicated. Mr. Jackie sold that parking lot, which I found out tad bit of history. Mr. Jackie Borden sold his to the side of it that's in between there and the kayak place outdoors. Mm-hmm. Sold the parking lot to the city under the agreement. Yes, thank you. Brain fart. Agreement of, hey, I want this a parking lot that the public will be able to use because it's right in front of Dogwood Park.
Right.
And I want the city to be able to maintain it for its entirety of the lifetime of this parking lot. And that's what the city has done. Mm-hmm. So I have a parking lot. Now, is it big, humongous like Walmart? No. But is it a parking lot bigger than my 2 spots I have now? Yes.
Yes, and bigger than any other probably commercial building you could find.
Truly. I mean, we've scoped out so many places.
Yes.
I really do think that this just kind of, the chips fell down. Whenever you watch The Price is Right with your grandma and you play what is it, Bunko or whatnot, and it goes down, that was me. Mm-hmm. And I had no clue I was playing Bunko. And so I started off that morning. I called a friend and I was like, hey, I think I might Borden Jewelry had popped up. So many people had sent it to me. We had talked about it.
Yeah.
And they were like, Borden Jewelry's going to go for $1 million.
Oh, I thought it was going to be $2 million.
Same. I was like, I, for one, love it, can't afford it. I know my lane, and that ain't it. That's the HOV lane. You're speeding down the highway, and I'm in the slow lane. No. And so, obviously, I called somebody, and they actually told me, hey, I know for a fact, there is several big hitters in Cookeville bidding today. Don't get your hopes up a bid, but don't get your hopes up. And I was like...
So they gave you a heads up on the final day of the auction?
No, they gave me I told them, I was like, hey, the auction came up. It just popped up on Facebook.
Oh.
And I was like, you know what, I might bid. And they were like, that's when they told me that. And I was like, okay, back to reality, not going to happen. So I called my brother right then. I was on my way to work. And I called my brother and I was like, hey, I may or may not bid on Borden Jewelry. I need you with me. I need you to come up. He's my business partner in my construction company. And, we do a lot of things together. And so with this building, my vision would be to take this, to move my salon into it. So he was like, I'm there. He was there in 10 minutes. And, so he got there quickly. So
at Borden's or at your salon?
At my salon.
Okay.
I'm doing hair.
And he's bidding.
I'm sewing in a weave, sewing. We're looking at it. I called Sabrina. She's my realtor. And I was like, girl. And I'm under
Sabrina Brazel, shout out.
Sabrina Brazel, plug. Love her, the GOAT. She's done such an amazing job on all of my commercial properties, all of my residential properties. And I will say that I was under contract on another building. You know that.
Yes.
The public does not know that. We kept that very quiet from September. So I've been under contract for 5-6 months?
Yes, and there's some hang-ups with it.
There were some hang-ups. They had to go through probate
not
court.
on your end.
We didn't know that. And probate court, I didn't know, but it is quite the process. Called Sabrina and I'm like, girl, can I do this? Can I bid? And she was like, go for it. Like, yes. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, don't know if I'm going to do it, but if I did, what would that look like? And she was like, yeah, do it. And I was like, okay. So she was like, I think you really should. And I said, cool, done. So I bid. The auction ended at 10. I logged on at 9:45.
Yes.
I made an account.
And what was it at 9:45?
It was like, I think like 300, 350.
Oh, wait, let's back up. When you go on to Tay's auction site, you have to put so many details
you have to
in.
fill it out.
It takes forever to make the account.
You're literally going to urgent care and signing up and putting all your stuff in. Like, you're like, okay.
So
my
even
insurance
that
is the same, but here's another copy of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you
I had
probably
to put a credit
barely
card on. I had to go get a credit card on my car. I had to run back in. I was like doing all the things. And then I got on and I bid. And I was like, it's going up by the hundreds, right?
And every time, even though it ended at 10 and this
Yeah.
was 9:45, every time you bid after the cutoff, it extends the time
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
At 10. So I was like, I have to get a credit card. I have to do all the things. So when I got in and I bid, and we're going up by the hundreds, and I'm just like so discouraged. I'm like, come on now. So I was like, you know what? I'll put $50,000 on this thing. And I bumped it up to
$50,000 more. So what was it when it started?
I think it was at 3. I think I bumped it up to 330, and then it went up to like 330, 100, 330, 200. And then I was like, you know what? 50,000, I'll weed some people out. So then I bumped it into the 4s. And then that did weed some people out because some people I've talked to that have stopped by the building since I've been there was like 4 was my max, 450 was my max. And I was like, y'all thought this was going to go at 450? I was like, you know what? I was just bidding to just bid.
I think
say
people
I bid.
didn't know it was happening.
No, true.
To be honest.
Same. Me. I did not know what was going on.
Me either.
So 9:30, I'm like talking about it, 9:45 fill out, and I'm bidding. 10 o'clock comes. I didn't know it was a soft close, which that's what that is, a 5-minute increment. So if you bid at like 9:59, it bumps it up to 10:04 in 5-minute increments, no matter what it's at. And I'm like, okay. So then my brother's watching it. I give it to my brother. I've got anxiety. Like I'm literally I'm pacing.
extensions.
Like there is, like I've made tracks in the floor, and then I'm back and like I am like putting these extensions in, and I'm like, and she's like, whew. I'm like, girl, these are tight. Like, and I'm like, she was like, you're nervous. I'm like, I'm so nervous. She's cheering me on. My brother's there, who's besides my husband, he is my biggest supporter. Reese is 13 years younger than me. So we really didn't have a relationship really growing up because we were so different. I'm in college playing softball and he's, out in the back of the field with a bat ringing it up against, and so like people thought he was my kid.
Right.
And so we've just grown together and I couldn't have asked for a better support system in that moment because he literally looks at me and he hands me my phone and he was like, I think you won.
What time was this?
Oh, this was like honestly, I can't even tell you, but it's like 10:15ish, 10:30
Oh.
maybe. I know, like it went on for like there was no cap, so you could keep.
But that's
going.
not as long as I would have imagined it would have gone for.
Oh, it went, and I remember putting in like a max bid of like 675, and I was like, I'm just gonna put it in, and I thought I was jumping it up to that, and I was like, that's my max. I know where I'm at. Done. And so he was watching it. I have no clue what happened. I have no clue what went on because I was so nervous. Like my stomach was in knots. My client knew Sam, Tay's Auction Realty, plug. She calls him and says, hey, I'm sitting here with Emily. And Sam was like, yeah, did you tell her? Like she won. And I was like, what, I won? And I just stopped. Needle dropped out of my hand.
And it's not like she won an award. She won the ability to pay cash for this building.
Listen.
Double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword. So I did. I mean, it's public information. It's not like I'm hiding the price, but I got it for $565.
Yeah.
Everything all in, all the fees and everything. I think it came out to like $620. I didn't know that there were fees. So I'm like, $565.
Even $620 is dirt cheap
Not
though
bad.
for that building.
True.
But the caveat and the problem is you have to pay it within
20% down in 3 days.
You had to put 20% down.
And
in
they
cash.
called me back like 10 minutes later and they were like, hey, just want to let you know, like, give you some, minor details. He had one of his guys call me. Called me, gave me the details. I have no clue what he even said. I just know that he said 20% and he gave me the number. I still didn't know the number. I knew a round number. And I am like, this is Tuesday afternoon by this time. By Friday, I had to have this in. Excuse me. And I'm like, okay, yes, absolute. Like, sure. I mean, I wasn't about to tell the auctioneer. I'm about to start scrambling.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, oh, it's my car.
Tight lip.
I'll put, yes. I'm like, I'll do
Figure it
all
out.
the things. To make this work, we did. Like, I don't know how we pulled it off. My brother was a huge part of it in helping figure out how we're going to place and how we're going to do and what we're going to do. And I had some friends come together, you included, that helped me brainstorm and help me figure this out.
Oh, she was hitting the phones.
I'm not kidding. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I didn't do anything from Tuesday. I honestly canceled the rest of my day because I couldn't function.
Right, because that's all you could think about.
Well, and I'm like calling people. I'm figuring it out. I'm calling the bank. I'm calling, all of these people to like figure out what's the best route for this. Because am I liquidating my 401ks? What am I doing? Well,
Because I asked Emily, my fear was, what happens if you can't come up with the money? Although I had all the faith in my girl.
Oh.
But are they going to come and arrest you? Are they going to like take your home?
Yeah.
What is going to
I probably
happen
would have for sure.
if you don't pay? And Emily's like, I have no idea. I haven't even looked at the contract.
I did not. I said, I've not even looked at the contract, Chelsea. And Chelsea was like, Emily, like we were texting. It's
And
like,
I know that you were anxiety ridden about it. So I was like, have your brother read the contract.
literally, I remember you saying that. And I was like, I don't even know where that contract is.
Oh, gosh.
I don't even know. And so I remember being like, Reese, what are we going to do? And he was like, okay. And now, a long time ago, well, when we started our construction business, I got a big old marker board. And I put it on the wall.
Oh.
I'm talking like a marker board that's like as big as this table. And I put it on the wall in my kitchen because it's like the only space available because everything else is like Golden Girls, like down the hallway.
She lives in her grandma's. So.
I live in my grandma's home built in the 60s, and I am living in the 60s. And you know what? I won't always live
changed a
there,
thing.
but we thriving.
Oh, yeah.
And I have the Golden Girls plastered in like big, like 20 by 30 black frames. Like it's Gucci.
The wall, the
Yes.
outlet covers or
Yes.
angel babies.
Remember I sent you a picture? So I was sending Chelsea pictures of outfits for an event that we went to. I was her date to an award event that she didn't know she was getting an award at. And she just thought it was an event. And so I was her date and I was sending her pictures and she scrolled in and it was literally the pictures of an angel outlet
angel
cover.
babies praying or
grandma.
something.
My grandma. Like everything's still vintage. And I
But
love
that's
it.
you, kind of. You're kind
really
of like
is.
granny chic.
I really love it. Like
Not
it won't be
in the
forever.
best way possible.
It won't be forever. But for right now, like I'm thriving through it.
But
Like-
that is your brand. It's glam, old glam. Old
It's like
glam.
Hollywood Regency.
Yes.
And I love that. And to touch on that, I've never even looked at the photos. I've never even been in the building. I have no clue what's even, like I bought this building sight unseen.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I went into the building, I was like, okay. I mean, it has a lot of like vintage decor in it as well that I inherited. And I got to meet Miss Faye. And that was probably the most special thing because
Yeah.
I got to like one-on-one. My dad knew her obviously because he was a fire chief and my family knew her and the family. And I got to do some really cool things in there that we've not even closed on it. And it's just like there's the way the chips fell, like God couldn't have planned out a better way. Cause I've been to you, been like, I don't think this is the dream for me. Mm-hmm. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is what
We almost
can
lost
do.
her back to Nashville.
I almost went back and I almost was like, this just isn't going to work for me.
Yeah.
But it did. And now
And spoiler, she found the money for the down payment and the money
Spoiler,
for
we
the
figured
rest.
it out. Spoiler, we figured all the money out. We put our heads together and we figured it out. And it just was, some things kind of fell through on like my other building that I was like, okay, great. But I was already started the process of like figuring out that. So I kind of had a leg up.
Yeah.
But
You had your stuff in order.
I did. And I got to meet Miss Faye and I got to talk about it. And she literally like was in tears when we were talking. And she was like, I am so happy it went to you. Her biggest fear was that a big investor was going to come in. They were going to bulldoze it. They were going to make it something, that it was not. And I was like, Miss Faye, like, I'm keeping these walls. I'm keeping these, like, all of the things. Like, of course, there's, like, some things I need to do structurally to it, like, on the floor and whatnot. But I get to keep safes. I get to keep windows from,
Yeah,
like,
there's a giant bank vault
yes.
in there.
And it was attached to the original Carlin Chevrolet that was built in 1930. Well, Carlin Chevrolet, I think, was built before that. But they built their building in 1937, and then the addition was in 1960. I still have 1937 electrical running.
Yes.
It's just
Thank
pure.
the Lord it has not
Oh, listen, it's running.
Ignited.
But I had the inspector in there, and he was like, wow.
But Emily's going to get it all fixed up.
We are.
And tell us your plans for the building.
So my plan that we've really kept top secret, only really my inner circle really knows exactly everything. Now, a couple of people know like what I want to do, but like inner circle knows like the fine details. And I'm so excited to share that I'm going to have a premium luxury blowout bar. It is going to be the only premium luxury blowout bar dedicated in Cookeville, in that area, the downtown area, to where you're coming in. And like what I do for a living is I make other women feel better of their attributes of their self. Of like, I want to bring out things and let me use my talents to really shine on what God gave you.
Yes.
And that's really
you do
something
a great
that
job with that.
And that's something I really want to do. Like Chelsea comes in and Chelsea's like, hey, like I really need to get through all these emails today, but like I don't have time to like wash my hair. And truly, like especially if you have extensions, like I will pay somebody to wash my hair. Mm-hmm. But when you come in and I want to, like people I'm targeting is it's going to be, you know, the business women, the moms, the women that just want to treat themselves, the mom and daughters, the mom and grandmas, the people that want to come in to just have a luxury experience. There's going to be a blowout bar, and then I'm going to have salon suites.
Yes.
So salon suites is going to be in there as well. So salon suites, really, for just a short clip of what that is you basically, I'm being a vessel to build your business at your own capacity and whatever you want to shine under your footprint. I'm just a building. I'm just a vessel. But I want to provide that because I didn't really have that coming out. I knew that I was styling and I had all these clients that went and did cut and color somewhere else, but I styled them. I did their extensions. And I really didn't bring the value to a commission salon or like, so I knew that I wanted to go booth rent. And in booth rent, I needed the space to do all the things because, I'm not just your typical stylist. And I do feel like that we're gearing more towards that because when girls graduate from school and they don't know what they want to do, but they know that they don't want to go into a commission salon and, or they don't want to work in a salon base, they want to be on their own to be creative in what they can do. Those are the people that I was when I was coming out of school. So it really is a great of both worlds. Like I'll have the blowout bar, there will be a chair rental in there, but then we will have salon suites.
But the best part about this is her aesthetic vision.
No.
You'll be transported to basically Las Vegas.
Literally I've always said this from the get-go, and I'm going to keep this, and I'll probably put it like on print somewhere. Think of the Cosmopolitan in Vegas, and Elvis Presley had a baby.
Oh, I'm obsessed.
Like the jewels, the glam, the glitz, but
yes.
I want you to feel something when you come into my space. I want you to feel like
luxury,
like you've stepped out of the world. Like when you
right.
go, that's why, honestly, Vegas is what it is. It's glitz and glam. And it honestly, 3 days in Vegas is a lot.
You can escape for
you become a resident
45
in like
minutes.
Days.
Yes.
And that's where I want to be.
That's very true.
I want to be at a place where you feel like I'm coming into, a place of, I'll pay that.
Complete with a champagne fountain, which is my most anticipated.
Don't think like I want like a fountain where you can pick rosé, champagne.
Yes,
Noir,
please.
like all the things.
I'll be there every day. And also she's going to be offering other things like you can rent the space out and throw parties, which will be so much fun because
really will.
Even for little kids, which
little
there
girls,
are
all little kids.
We are limited for little girl parties in
for
Cookeville.
Sure.
There's places you can have parties.
There's like 4 places in town that you could have
but
parties.
They're not girly and glam and
no. You show up and it is what it is.
Right.
And you're catering to a certain part. And we've talked about this, you went out of Cookeville to have Oakley a party that is just a little girl's like party that
spa
is
day,
geared
basically.
towards like a spa, like
makeover.
And that's what I want to do. I really want to target because I have a niece. I don't have a daughter, but I have a niece and she's like my daughter. And my sister will exactly tell you like she is my daughter. We're the same, twinsies. And I want her to have a place where like she can have, I want her to dance in her little tippy-tappy, her little tippy-tappy ballerina shoes, and her to, have the tiaras and the boas and the tinsel hair and all the things that are the glitz and the glam. So I really want to hit different markets.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have that. So I really want to bring something premium and luxury, but I also want to fill a void.
Yeah, for sure. And it definitely will.
And it's
we'll
right
be
in the right
renting
place.
September 2nd, please.
That's already on the calendar. Virgo Queen.
But we're just so excited, and I'm so proud of you. You pulled it off. Eventually, you'll see her giving a TED Talk of how she did
really
this.
Deep dive.
She came up with cash money. Big time cash money.
$125,000 in 3 days of not knowing what I'm going to do. And that's a lot of no sleep, no eat, and waking up in the middle of the night being like, am I going to go to church?
But you've put in the work.
We've
to
been
be
there so
here.
many times. looking in
And
the windows.
I can't wait to see it come to life. And it'll be such a fun place to stop in downtown.
Even just to be downtown, I've never, like, obviously I've lived downtown at my dad with being a fire chief and watching like the Christmas parade outside of the fire hall.
Mm-hmm.
And now like I get to take my kids. And like when I grew up going to the fire hall because my dad truly, like, he was the one that picked us up in the afternoons. My mom worked at Upper Cumberland Electric. She was there 8 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad was the one that really picked us up, or my grandparents. And, when sometimes he forgot about us or he was on a fire saving a life. But, when we went there, we had to go to the fire hall and it was so boring and I hated it at the time. And I have such good memories, but I remember being like, this sucks.
Well, now you can go have a glass of champagne and watch the Christmas parade.
And now I can sit there with a hot cocoa bar.
Yes.
And Rocco, yes, he's going to be running around.
I mean, Rocco is going to get so used to knowing how to treat a woman
I mean,
by the time he is
But he's
grown.
with me 24/7. So, like, I've had him strapped to me doing celebrity hairs. So I'm like, this is nothing new for him.
Yes.
He will know what the value of that is, and that mama really did bust it. And Brett is in Nashville, and I'm like, listen, you better get that overtime, baby.
Yeah, we need
Because
it.
you are our benefits. You are our sole provider.
And get him back in here. But when do you expect
I'm
to
hoping
open your doors?
So I really love the history. I'm a history buff, and I love the history of Borden's. And so I really want to work with Cityscape, with the Upper Cumberland Development District, to really make this deemed a historic building.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we already got ornaments. Like,
Yeah.
do I need to send that to the state? Like, what else, satisfies that?
There's a lot of proof.
But I have a ton of connections that we've already started working on that I'm so grateful and blessed with. And, I've been telling you, I want to get on something. I want to get it plugged in and get in something. And I think this is just like,
Emily wants to run the town.
literally. I'm like, listen, just let me sit in. I just want to talk. Like, just, let me give my opinion.
Yes.
I'll write it down. I won't say it out loud. But I think this is something great for Cookeville, for young women, for aspiring women that want a career change at 30, that you might be going through a mental breakdown of your parents, thinking like you're at a midlife crisis, but you're just a career change.
Right.
And I think that I want to have a safe space for people to explore what they want to do creatively. And we're just coming to that. Abby at Edison Hills has been a huge inspiration. She's opened that place. Like, she's done so much. I'm in there all the time.
She is.
Every
She's bought
time we
lots
do
of vintage jewelry.
Every time we do hair and makeup there for Cookeville Lifestyles, I'm like, Abby.
She's buying it up.
I'm buying stuff for my vintage house. It's just eclectic. And I want something that I can, have bingo night at.
Yeah, it's totally yours. You can do whatever you want.
And I've never had mine.
Yeah.
I've always rented the whole time, and I've never had mine. I've never had a place that's been mine. And I love my landlords now. And it's actually really special because one of my best friends, Allie, and her dad, grandma, were a part of Borden Jewelry for such a long time that, I've even got to bring them in and show them things about the building that they didn't even know was there, that is attributed to their grandma, who is, she's passed now.
Yeah.
And so in her family, so this just building is meant to be, like, if that wasn't a testament of this is meant to be and how it all panned out,
Yeah.
that right there of like, she's my landlord now, and she's like, what? Yes, get it. And I told her about Borden's, but I remember calling her the day of, and I was like, I bought Borden's, and she was like, shut up.
I think
And I think that's what everybody, literally everybody that I've told, like, their mouth goes through the floor, or the silence, or they're like, oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, and it wasn't even $1 million. I'm like,
Thank the Lord. Praise.
It truly was a testament of, like, grind it out.
Yeah.
Like, this has been a grind. This has been a hard grind.
It for sure has. And Emily should be open. We're hoping.
Probably in like 3
before
months.
the fall.
4 months. I want to be
4
3 and 4 months, but I'm trying to get it deemed historic. I lost.
We don't know the process really.
We don't know the
but
process. I have
she's
great
diving into
people.
that.
And
now.
you've helped me connect on that. And diving into that and getting that just lined up, I need to just figure that out first, and
Bring
then
it
I
up
can
to code.
bring it up to codes of 1937s.
Yes.
They built
job.
in the 60s, and so it's just, there's so many things that I do want to keep historic value of it, but I also want to make it my own.
For sure. Yeah.
And it's 3 to 4 months is what I'm hoping for. We'll see. We don't know till we really get in there and rip out some stuff. but keep the bones.
So where can people follow along on the opening date?
So Poppy and Pearl is on my Instagram, and that's going to be, we're still trying to figure out the name of what it is. Poppy and Pearl's a mouthful. So, especially pairing it with Blowout and Salon Suite. So we're still honing in on a name.
Yes.
But it will be on that. And Bougie Braids is my personal social that I'm going to be filming all of the historic, all of our transitions, all of the contracting stuff. And me and my brother get to contract it ourselves. So that's super special for us. And it's going to be all documented. So Bougie Braids right now. And then hopefully, Poppy and Pearl is my wedding business. And it will be off that. I just not honed in on a name.
Or I'll probably be sharing it too if you can't find any of that.
Lifestyles.
But we're so excited for Emily, and we can't wait to come and be pampered at the new space and support her.
And that's my dream, and that's what I want to do. I'm a giver. I'm a connector, and I know at heart I'm a helper, and I know that literally that's what God put me on this earth to do, is to pour into other people. And by pouring into other people, my cup gets filled.
Yes, and you can go it's worth it just to sit there and be able to talk to Emily for 30 minutes because you'll be laughing the whole time.
I know.
So anyway.
Bring up some dad jokes or something.
Oh, yeah. She's full of them. But
we'll do something.
Anyway, please follow along with Emily on socials, and we're excited for you, Emily.
Thank you for having me, and I can't wait to come share, especially now when I'm crying into this mic about how hard this process is. Let's remember that we were so happy at one point. This was a process.
This was a very happy time, and Emily, stay tuned because Emily will be hosting future episodes of Behind the Scenes with Cookeville Lifestyle. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Bye, guys.